Hello punters and welcome back to another Saturday Racing preview, and of course in this video looking at the Rosehill meeting tomorrow. Terrific program. Obviously we've got the Group 2 run to the Rose, an absolutely spectacular field in the lead up to the Golden Rose in 2 weeks time, so really looking forward to that. We have the Dulcify in race number 5, really looking forward to that one. Of course run the Rose in race number 6. The Theo Marks Group 2 level in race number 7, and in race number 8 we've got the Group 2 Shirako stakes to look forward to as well as some really good racing as well. I mean, race number 4 is a benchmark 88, but it's far and away above your benchmark 88. You could easily pass it for a listed type of, or even potentially a Group 3 type of race with Master Crusader and Fortuce ready to square off in that race there. So really looking forward to that part of the program. But we obviously got to get through each race as we do. If you are new here, please give me a subscribe on the video. Obviously, I really appreciate that. I'll put these videos out every single week ahead of Saturday meetings more often than not, especially over this spring carnival. I'll be doing it every single week till the end of the spring, and then we'll just play it by year, see how we go from there. Obviously, I've got quite a lot on my plate at the moment, but I'm doing the best I can to put these previews out for you guys. I really enjoy doing it, and I hope that you guys enjoy watching it just as much as I do. So if you are new, like I said, subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate the subscription. I'm almost at 100 subscribers now, so I really appreciate all of you guys that have subscribed already. I really appreciate the support a lot. Give the video a like, and obviously comment down below or comment any of your thoughts that you think on any races. This is the beauty of this sport. Like I said in my Flemington video, if you haven't already gone and watched that one, Mackay Diva Stakes Day, go check that one out. Racing, the beauty of racing is there's plenty of opinions based in it. There's plenty of form. People read it differently, and it just creates great discussion. So I'm very open and willing for you guys to comment down below any of your thoughts ahead of tomorrow's meeting, or any thoughts on this video as well. If you've got any thoughts on me, if you think that I'm rubbish, let me know about it. But all honesty though, yeah, really looking forward to the meeting tomorrow, and I look forward to putting these out for you guys. So I'll go through each race, give a top 4 selections, but then any other chances that I like in the race. So go and make sure you do that. And also, if you haven't already done so, go and check out SEN Track. I'm doing a bit of work with them at the moment. I'll be putting down my preview for this meeting here at Rosehill. I've been done the write-up for them on the SEN website, so I'll put the link in the description. And also go and follow me on my personal social media pages as well as SEN Track. So go and give them a like on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And obviously my personal racing tips, where I put all these tips out. Then I also put out weekly tips for basically every day. I gave today a bit of a spell, but usually I get tips out without failure every day. So go and check those out on C-Lane_racing tips on Instagram and C-Lane Racing Tips on Facebook. So go and check those out if you want more tips than just your regular Saturday ones. But without further ado, we're going to get straight into this meeting at Rosehill. Race number 1 on the program, 2,400 metre race, benchmark 78. And looking at the speed map for this race here, I'd suggest that Quaddie Selections will roll up to the top with pressure. I'd say that they'd be the 2 leaders. Don't really see too many others pushing up and contesting the speed. So, look, I'm really looking forward to seeing Quaddie Selections here. Really short in the market, $1.75. So, favourite punters will be hoping to jump off to a good start in the day. And look, I'm with him. Look, I don't think I could necessarily have a play $1.75, but if you are counting him, I don't think he's going to get any longer in the market. So if you are going to have a bet, probably have a bet right now and try and maybe give him a little bit of a boost or whatever. Perhaps get him up to let's have a look just as a hypothetical. If you give him a boost, I've already used mine today, my mistake. Very typical, but I think he'll be around that $1.90 mark, which I could probably have a crack at. But yeah, look, he looks really good. His last start performance at Sandown was absolutely superb. It was as good a performance as you'll see. He made a slight move early. He did a little bit of work to get to the front, and then he just off the turn. Ben Melham just barely let him go. He just cruised, and it was just a sensational sight to watch. He obviously that wasn't the strongest field there, but I don't think this is the strongest field here either. I think he'll take care of these quite comfortably and be really hard to beat here. So I'm really excited to see what he can do. So he goes on top for me ahead of number 2 Corcho, who was disappointing last start. I was really counting him last start, and he really did fail on that occasion. And I hope that he can bounce back here and run a better race. He obviously goes from the 2,000 metres where he stepped back in distance to last start, back up to 2,400 metres. So I think they'll be much better for him, and I hope that it'll be a bit more positive with him. They rode him towards the back of the field last start. I hope that he can get a bit closer into the run. And so he's not a bad price. He's got to carry 62 kilos on his back, though, so he is heavily weighted. But I think he is the clear second chancer. Number 4, Desert Path, is one you're going to have to watch the betting on. He was absolutely smashed 2 starts back, and he got the chocolates. And then last start, he finished fourth, The Kiss of Bride and Birth of Venus. So I think he can bounce back here coming onto a dry track. At this stage, it's a soft 6 at the moment. Well, I'm surprised at that because I saw the weather forecast and I didn't think that it would. I thought it would stay around the soft 5 to good form range, but hopefully we can still get that tomorrow. It doesn't seem to be a whole lot of rain between now and tomorrow, so let me know if I'm wrong with that there. Obviously, any of you guys that do live in Sydney that watch the video, you'll probably have a better idea on what the conditions are like than I do down here in Melbourne. But reading it off the weather forecast, I think that we'll be probably looking at a soft 5, good 4 type of track at the best. But yeah, look, Desert Path, we'll probably appreciate obviously the close to the soft 5s type of soft range there, and I think he can run a good enough race at the $7. The other one I don't mind as well is number 7, Merlinite, who I did give a chance to last start, and it was a little bit disappointing on that occasion, but coming back onto probably a firmer surface, I can see a bit of improvement coming out of it. And look, it got a long way back last start, that word for word guys race, same one as Corcho, and hit the line okay there, and I think the extra distance might suit this horse nicely. So recap the numbers for me. Look, I am going to go with number 3, Cadre du Noir on top, ahead of number 2, Corcho, and for second. In for third, number 4, Desert Path, and in for fourth, number 7, Merlinite. Moving on to race number 2 on the program now, we have the highway race of the meeting, and it's over 1,400 metres, class 3. Look at the speed map here. I'd suggest that there'll be quite a lot of pace here. I think Gillette, Lose the Snip, Larynx will all be up towards the pace from inside barriers. Rex will be up there from barrier number 10. Harbouring usually likes to get towards the speed on Treat from barrier number 14. Will be rolling up towards the speed as well. So really should be a lot of pace on in this race here, and I think it'll set up nicely for my on-top selection legwork. I think this horse will be able to roll into it off the back of a relatively good tempo, and I'm surprised he's gone out to $8.50, to be honest. He was $7.50 when I liked him earlier, so he's getting out to a bit of a better price. He did touch $9.50, now he's come back into $8.50 again, but so a couple of little betting moves there, but I just think that the race is going to set up really nicely for him here. I didn't mind his last start performance. Obviously, last start he ran in a benchmark 70. So while he did finish ninth, 7.4 lengths behind on that occasion, this is going to be obviously a much easier assignment for him. And I could just see him bouncing back here and running much better with the strong tempo in the race to bring him into it. So he goes on top for me, ahead of number 8, Yulong Base, the favourite, who has been absolutely flawless since going into the care of Cody Morgan. Really been impressive. Hasn't missed a top 2 finish this preparation. So I don't see any reason why he won't here. The only query for me with him is barrier number 12, and obviously all that speed on in the race, but he's definitely got a very good chance to win again. He goes in for second. In for third, I do have number 12, Den Miss, who I just thought was well over the odds here, this horse, especially getting to that soft range. So 4 starts on a soft track for a win in 3 seconds, and it's getting out to a real suitable distance here. I think it'll really appreciate getting out to the 1,400 metres here, and I just think it's a really good chance at the odds. Obviously, it has to just deal with that wide barrier, but if it can do so, I think it'll be running home nicely here. I just think it's a very nice price at $41, and has had a bit of specking from its opening quote of $71. So it goes in for third for me. Then in for fourth, I've got number 10, Harbouring, who I also think is a bit of a chance here on the drying track. I think can bounce back and stepping out to the 1,400 metres after coming back in distance. So I went from 1,800 metres back to 900. Sorry, that was a trial. Then I went back to 1,250. Now back up to 14. I think it'll just we'll see a bit of improvement come out of it, and it looks to get into a really good spot in the race as well, despite the heavy tempo. Tim's Principle was the other one that I didn't mind. Haven't got him in my numbers, but obviously last start was not a bad run in the highway race by an Absolute Trust, and 7-day backup that of course was last week was obviously a big tip for Tim's Principle, but has to carry the weight again, and barrier number 15 has to deal with that as well. But look, I'm very keen on number 3, Legwork here. I've got it on top ahead of number 8, Yulong Basin for second. In the third, like I said, I'm going to have it probably an each way play at number 12, Den Miss, and Harbouring. I'll be having a little spec on both of those in for third and fourth. Moving into race number 3 now, it's benchmark 78 over 1,800 metres here. Look at the speed map for this race. It's just that Mercurial Lad will probably lead them up. Don't really see too many others pressing on for the speed, so some of these back in the field, which are some of the better, more fancy chances in the race, they won't want to get too far back in the run. But look, I'm going to stick with number 5, Jagus Jewel. I was counting her first up, and she had a really good run, and Hit the line nicely, finished third there over 1,500 metres, gets out to the 1,800 here. She's going to have a lot more improvement out of that run there, and I think she's going to be quite. She has a very good chance of winning here. Just has to navigate barrier number 13. Looks a little bit of a tricky gate considering there's not a lot of speed in the race, so just will have to find a spot and hopefully not get too far back. But I think she'll be running on. I think she can go one better than what she did last start, where she finished third. I think she can be right in the finish, and $6 better is a good price, so she goes on top for me. And number 6, She's Ideal, comes out of the same race and gets a good 3.5 kilo weight swing on Vegas Jewel. But I just think that Vegas Jewel did hold off relatively well on that occasion, and also I think that Vegas Jewel will also appreciate the step up in distance. So yes, I can see why they've probably flipped in the market, but they do tend to do this a lot. They're just off the back of weight swings all the time. It doesn't always work out that way. So I just think that while she's got a very good chance, number 6, She's Ideal, I just think that probably will welcome the rain, which it seems like Sydney have had a little bit at the moment, being in the soft 6 range. So if it doesn't dry out too much, she comes right into the thick of things at the $4. She's got a good chance. Number 3, Yonkers, has a very nice chance. Good second up record. Really like that first up run over 1,400 metres behind McCormack, and of course beat home the likes of Canaan and Just Thinking, obviously Frank the form last week winning. So Yonkers has got a very good form line, steps back in grade here, and obviously comes onto a potentially either a good track or a soft sort of a soft 5, so the higher rating of the soft 5, so of the soft track, sorry. So Yonkers has definitely got a good chance here at the $7. It's my third pick. And then for fourth, number 9, Guys, who was known to run at Wednesday at Canterbury, but decided to run in this race instead. So obviously a bit of sign intent there. And Karen McAvoy gets the ride for Chris Waller. I reckon he probably would have had the choice between Guys and Yonkers, and the fact that he's gone with Guys is, for me, very interesting. He comes out of a last start performance of 2,000 metres behind word for word, and the form of that race looks to be okay, and we'll get a bit of a guide on that in race number 1 with the likes of Court Show and I believe Merlinite was the other one that came out of that race. So we'll get a bit of a guide into what that type of form is like heading into race number 3. So Guys goes in for fourth for me. The other chances, I didn't mind Attorney, liked his first up run at Randwick over the mile. He was a really good performance there behind the tearaway leader of Frosty Rocks. And the other one I didn't mind as well is number 2, Night's Order, who comes to Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott first up here from New Zealand, from the UK. So a bit of an intriguing runner, especially if the track dries out. I think could be right in the thick of things, has had 3 starts on a good track for 3 wins. So it's pretty well leading there. I would be led to believe, and it looks to have a bit of ability. And the trials coming in haven't been anything too flash, but we know that Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott can spring a surprise, and the fact that it's got barrier number 1, wouldn't be surprised if it rolls forward the lack of tempo in the race. So a bit of a good rough shot there. But look, I'm going to stick with number 5, Vegas Jewel, on top for me, ahead of number 3, ahead of number 6, She's Ideal, in for second. In for third, I've got number 3, Yonkers, and then in for fourth, number 9, Guys. Moving on to race number 5 on the program now, over the 1,100 metres. And looking at this is the main race. This is one of the great races, a benchmark 88, but it could very easily be a listed sort of group level race. Look at the speed map here. I'd suggest that Goldfinch and Rare Episode will be rolling forward. Fortuce will be up towards the pace, so probably just off it. Hilo will be up towards the speed. I think Electric Girl might use the inside barrier to get prominent in the run as well. So this, of course, is the race between Masked Crusader and Fortuce, but I've looked around those two. I've gone with number 6, Way Up in the Sky, with Karen McAvoy riding. I just think this horse is way over the odds. Her form from last preparation reads really well for a race like this. I just think that she's just massively over the odds. She did finish 3.5 lengths behind Fortuce last preparation, but then she did also finish second to not a Kari. Kari's in this race. She finished second to Rubasaki last preparation. So, I mean, that form reads pretty well in a race like this. So, look, I think she's just got a great chance first up here. She did win the first up last preparation, and finished second first up last preparation in a good race. And I just think she's well over the odds here at the $19. I think she could give it a real shake. So she goes on top for me, ahead of number 5, Masked Crusader, who will really appreciate getting back onto a firmer track. Obviously, last start in the heavy didn't seem to handle it, but finished behind a very good horse in Vada. So I don't think there's much problems with finishing behind a horse like that, and I expect he can bounce back here. He's just too short for me. I just couldn't play him at the $2. For Choose, she's got a good chance here. I really do like her prospects in this. She has a good first up record, 2 from 2, absolutely perfect. She looks to get a really good run of the race. Not a whole lot of tempo. She looks probably just sitting behind the speed. She's a very, very good chance here, and obviously is very good on these sort of drier tracks. So very big danger to the favourite Master Crusader. I'm really looking forward to seeing those two go to battle, but I'm hoping that Way Up in the Sky can just swoop past the both of them and finish over the top. And in for fourth, I've got number 4, Akari, who I do concede will be probably looking for a bit further and will benefit greatly off this first up run. But look, she was very good first up. Last preparation. She ran in some terrific company. While her form doesn't read extremely well, she did not run in group company last preparation. So you've got to respect some of the form lines that she's come out of, including a 7th behind probability in the Group 1 surround. So look, she's got her fair share of ability. While she is looking for further, I just wouldn't be surprised if she's rattling home late and finishes, hits the line nicely. Other chance of the race, I don't mind number 7, Hilo, who has some good form coming from last preparation and is a good first up performer more often than not. And James McDonald riding is obviously a big positive for her. So recap the numbers for me. Look, I think it's a great race. I'm really looking forward to this one, but I'm going to go with number 6, Way Up in the Sky. I think that she just is well over the odds. And while I do concede that Masked Crusader and Fortunes are the two to beat, just think that she was just much better betting prospect at $19 for me. So she goes on top. Head of number 5, Masked Crusader for second, who I think he's an absolute superstar, and I'm looking forward to seeing if he can put it together tomorrow. But $2.05 for me. Just too many queries, it's just too short. Look, if I was to go between the two, I'd be probably leaning towards betting on Fortunes. I think she's a much better betting prospect. I think you could take her with a lot more trust and put a bit more money into her than you could with Masked Crusader. So she's my third pick, and then in for fourth, I've got number 4, Akari. Moving on to race number 5 in the program now. It's the listed Dulcify Quality. Really looking forward to this race here, the first of the sort of feature races of the program. And look at the speed map. I suggest Yardstick will probably be able to lead them up, although Easy Campese will probably push up from the inside barrier and make it work. Jet Propulsion won't be far off. Obviously led all the way last start at Newcastle, so it'll be up towards the speed as well. Be interested to see where Moonga, the favourite, will be getting in the run. But look, I'm very keen on number 4, Overlord here. I'm a bit concerned with the lack of tempo in the race, and obviously his biggest problem is his barrier manners. If he can just step close enough, or not even just with them, just close enough, he just gets himself too far back and he leaves himself too much to do, and he rattles home nicely. He's been a punter's nightmare for anyone that's backed him in the time. But I just think that he strikes a winnable race here, and I liked what he did last time out. He ran home pretty well behind Holyfield and Bazooka on that occasion. I think just think that if he's able to get a little bit close to the run, he's going to probably be running on again, and just expect him to run a bit of a better race here coming out of that form line there. So he goes on top for me. And I think he'll get the better of Bazooka from last start. Look, he was carrying 55 in that race. He goes up to 56. Meanwhile, Bazooka in that race carried 53.5, goes up to 56 as well. So Overlord gets a good weight swing on Bazooka there. I think that'll be good enough to see him beat Bazooka home. But look, in the second, I do have number 9, Yardstick. I'm going to be having a play on both of these here. So Overlord at 550 and Yardstick at 650. I think I've always had a good opinion of this Colton, especially since his debut win at Canterbury. It was a really nice victory on the heavy track. He comes back onto a firmer going now, and I really am excited to see what he can do on this type of track, on this type of surface. I think he'll be much improved, and he's drawn to get a really good run of the race. He obviously is not going to be contested too much for the speed, unlike he was last time on the heavy surface, and he was beaten by a very good horse as well. I mean, mind you, he was beaten by North Pacific, who's absolutely flying, and was beaten by Bazooka on that occasion as well. But I just think that Yardstick here coming back onto the firmer going will run a much better race. So it goes in for second for me, be having an each way go on both of them. Look, I honestly can't understand how Moonga is $2.60 here in this market. I mean, obviously his Newcastle performance was quite good, and he's got quite a big rap on him, and obviously, like I said, his closing splits were really good. His last 600 was running 34.73, which is a pretty good time for a 3-year-old, and obviously being lightly raced on his second race start. But I just think that he's way too short at $2.60. Just one of the delays of the day for me. I want to see him do it before I could ever entertain a price like that. So he goes in for third. Then in for fourth, number 1, Global Quest. So I look forward to returning to the track here. Obviously some good form from last preparation, has a good first up record, and would surprise me if this horse runs quite nicely with Hugh Bowman in his return ride since suspension. So he's going to be raring to go, and I think Global Quest could run a very good race here at $7.50 as well. So recap the numbers. The other chance as well, I didn't mind Jet Propulsion. I think this horse can show some good improvement, like I did see last start when it finished 6th at Canterbury on a heavy track, came back on a firmer surface and beat Sentimental quite nicely in a strong Newcastle race there. So don't get it twisted. The format of that race has been pretty good, so it's better than your sort of average provincial type of race there. But recap the numbers for me. Look, I'm keen to go with number 4 Overlord on top, ahead of number 9 Yardstick in for second. In for third, I've got number 7 Moonga, the favourite, and then in for fourth, number 1 Global Quest. Moving on to race number 6 now, and it is the feature race of the day, the Run to the Rose, Group 2 level. Sorry, the Group 1 will be obviously the Golden Rose in 2 weeks' time. Really looking forward to this race here, jam packed full of talent. I think I did an article just recently for SEN Track where Robert Heathcote was talking about Rothfire on Mornings with Gary and Tim, and look, he was absolutely terrific. In that race, there, go and listen to his thoughts on Rothfire. Obviously, he's got a very good chance, and he basically said with this race that a really good horse is going to finish last in this, and that's how good. That's how you know it's a very good race. Like whoever finishes last here, you can't take too much out of it because they are still a very good quality horse. So really looking forward to this race. Obviously, we see the Golden Slipper winner Farnan return. We see the multiple Group 1 winner King's Legacy return to the track. Obviously, we'll be looking for a bit further. The JJ Atkins winner Rothfire, Robert Heathcote's horse. And we get to see North Pacific, Mamaragan, Peltzer obviously was a decent first up performance. So really good forward to this race here to tomorrow. Look at the speed map. I think that Rothfire, Peltzer, and Farnan will be the main speed factors in the race. So Farnan and Rothfire will probably pair off and try and lead them up with Peltzer. But I don't think Peltzer will give up the lead. It'll be interesting to see where Farnan gets from that wide barrier. Could potentially be a sticky draw for him. He might have to drop in behind and settle with a bit of cover, which I think he can still do. I think he's going to be capable of that. Look, I have got number 1 Farnan on top, but I couldn't entertain betting on him at $2.40. He's obviously got an enormous amount of ability, and Gabe Waterhouse, his trainer, obviously has boldly proclaimed that he will not be beaten this spring. I'm going to just sit and wait for that because I just can't get into him $2.40 first up. Sometimes we could see him come back different horses from a 2-odd to a 3-odd. I know his trials have been really good leading in, so that suggests that he has come back really nicely, but I just want to see, I guess I want to see it first before I can get into $2.40. So he does go on top for me. It's probably a race I'm going to be sitting back and watching, but look, I do think he's going to be winning the race. He obviously has the most ability in this race from my viewpoint. So he goes on top ahead of number 3 Rothfire, who I'm very excited to see what he can do. He's got a terrific first up record. And obviously with Jim Byrne coming down for the ride from Queensland, wouldn't have been it. Well, when I say not an easy decision, he would have given up some potentially winning rides in Doom to come and ride this horse. So obviously Robert Heathcote is one of his main jockeys, but obviously the fact that Jimmy has decided to come to New South Wales for the rides, he obviously is riding one of the other good chances of the race later in the day. He's riding the tie zone for AJ Edmonds for the Edmonds team there, so he has a couple of rides, but the fact that he's come down mainly for this Rothfire ride really does give me some good thoughts for him. So he goes in for second. In for third, number 5, North Pacific. Well, look, he could be absolutely anything of this horse. He's the real wild card in this race, and I think that he obviously was absolutely elite last start as a short price favourite, where he beat Bazooka on that occasion. He won that race with absolute ease, 5.3 lengths, and the only query with him, obviously, is going from a heavy track onto a good track. You want to wait to see for them to do it first. But look, from what I've seen from him so far, he could really give this race a shake. I'm excited to see what he can do in this. So he goes in for third. And then in for fourth, I have got number 4, Mamaragan, who obviously ran home nicely last start to finish third behind Anders and Peltzer. And I think Mamaragan get the better of Peltz this time round. I just think that with the slightly... Don't really see those 2 leaders tearing away, and I think Mamaragan will appreciate the little step up in distance from 1100 to 1200 and will be able to get the better of Peltzer, who is one of the other chances of the race. And then Ole Kirk and King's Legacy, obviously the market reflects it. I think those two will both be looking for a little bit further, but they will still probably run good races here. I don't think there'll be a massive amount of margins splitting some of these horses here. So recapping the numbers for me, I am keen on number 1 Farnan on top. I'm not going to be too keen on betting him at $2.40 though, but I do see he's the best horse in the race. It'd be hard to beat. In for second, number 3 Rothfire. In for third, I've got number 5 North Pacific, and in for fourth, number 4 Mamaragan. Moving on to race number 7 now. It's the Group 2 Theo Mark Stakes. Looking forward to this race as well. Look at the speed map here. I'd suggest that Special Reward and Fender will probably be the leading factors in the race. Wild Planet will be up towards the pace, and Fun Star would be not far off the speed either. So not a whole heap of tempo, but for a 1300 meter race, but obviously in a smaller field, they'll all probably get their chance. Look, I've landed with Nick and Nova here, who's $12 in the market. I'm surprised at that price. I'm keen to take him. I was counting him in the Group 1 Wing Stakes, and I thought that run was actually okay. It probably reads a bit better than what it suggests on the form sheet. He was a long way back, and he ran home pretty nicely and hit the line well. I was impressed with his last sort of 200 metres in particular. So he does come back to 1300 metres, which is a little bit of a query, but he's got a lot of ability, and I just think that he's been prepped for one of these Sydney races. I thought that he might have run pretty well last start, but I'm even more confident here in a Group 2 Theo Marks, which is a decent field, but this is probably a field that he's very capable of beating. So he goes on top for me as a good each way price. Ahead of number 5, Fun Star, who, look, she's obviously got an immense amount of ability. She's got a terrific second up record, so she is obviously going to be really. She's got a perfect second up record, in fact, so she's going to improve a lot off that first up run. But I did think it was a little bit disappointing, her first up run. I was probably expecting a bit more from her on that occasion, and with the drying track, I'm not 100% sure if that's going to suit her or not. She probably prefers it a little bit wetter, as we've seen throughout her career to date. But with that really elite second up record, I do suggest she'd be bouncing back and running much better than she did first up. But I just couldn't entertain going in at $3.20. I think she'll be in the finish, but I couldn't be backing her at $3.20. So she goes for second. In the third, number 3, Special Reward, who I really liked its run in that race behind Rohiran and Probabile, which Fun Star comes out of. Look, Special Reward beat her last start, and Special Reward, there's only a 0.5 of a kilo difference between them in favour of Fun Star, but I think the Special Reward will still get the better of her potentially. So those two, I couldn't really split them much between them. Special Reward is probably going to welcome the soft track. 4 starts for 3 wins and a placing, but it's also good on the firm track as well. So I think regardless of conditions, he'll be running really well in this race here. So he goes in for third. And then if for fourth, I've got number 1, Tie Zone, who he obviously comes in his first up off the back of a Group 1 Stradbroke win, and that was a terrific win as well. So you really got to respect his ability in a race like this, and I think he could be running a bowl race first up, especially if the track dries out a little bit. So he goes in for fourth. Other chances in the race, I don't mind running here first up here. Look, he really loves running here at Rosehill, so he's got a good chance in the race. And Wild Planet is an interesting one. He's been, I guess, in the market a couple of times now, and he's got a lot of ability. His form from last preparation reads well. I just wasn't overly convinced with his first up performance, so I just don't see how he's going to get the better of Fun Star and Special Reward off the back of what happened that first up run. But yeah, you never know. He could surprise me, and he could be much better improved coming onto a dry track. And Rio Dini is a bit of an interesting runner as well, coming across from New Zealand. First up with Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott. So a horse that's very good on a soft track, 3 starts for 3 wins. So if we keep on that soft surface at $17, it could be a bit of value in the race, and could potentially take the race out. But recap the numbers for me. Look, I am going to go with number 2, Nick and Over. I think that this just might be his race, so he goes on top for me. Ahead of number 5, Fun Star for second. If for third, number 3, Special Reward. And then if for fourth, number 1, Tie Zone. Moving on to race number 8 on the program now, and it is the Group 2 Shirako Stakes. And look at the speed map here for this race. I think there'll be quite a lot of pace here. I think Positive Peace, Mizzy, Adelong will all be rolling towards the pace. Fasika usually isn't too far off. Obviously, she's resuming in this race. I'm really looking forward to seeing her go around. Shout the Bar, Hawkbury on her, Sweet Deal from the outside barrel lights to roll forward, Invictus Salute. So there is an immense amount of pace in this race here. I think it's going to set up really nicely for Flit to finish over the top of him at the $20. I think fantastic price about her. I'm going to forgive her last start performance in the Group 1 Wink Stakes and go back to the performance prior to that on the heavy track where she finished second behind Eduardo. A similar performance to that will see her run well here, and I'm keen to see what she can do on the slightly drier track here, regardless of if we get a good track or a soft 5 or soft 6 or whatever. I do think she'll be running a really good race. So just the race looks to set up perfectly for her, and comes into this third up, which she has won third up before from 3 tries, a win and a second. So she's got a really good chance here in this race at 20 to 1, and I'm going to go with her on top. Ahead of the other horse that I was keen to have an each-way play at is number 11, Adelong, who is obviously 3 from 3 here at Rosehill. It was a bit disappointing first up and let the punters down at $2.15, but how often do we see the horses get rolled as favourites? They come out the next start at double-figure odds and they get the job done. So end of the day, she hasn't lost any of her quality. She is very, very talented, and obviously had that little bit of a spell between runs leading into last up. So look, technically this is in her, I think it's still in her main preparation, but she is sort of second up here in a sense. So she's got a perfect record second up, and I think she'll be running well. The 54 kilos on her back at $11. So they're the two that I'm going to be having each way goes at. Number 8 for Seeker in for third. Obviously, I know of her ability, and she's a terrific mare. She doesn't do her best racing here at Rosehill. She had 3 starts here at Rosehill for just the one placing, but she's got a terrific first up record. Her trials leading it have been very nice, including the last 2 where she won both of those, and I think she could be running a good race first up. I just think 270 in a race with this type of depth is just a bit too short for me. I could probably see her drifting out towards the $3 quote by race day. And Hawkbury on her is another one I don't mind either at a bit of a price. She obviously went to that next level last preparation, and she hasn't missed the top 2 finish in her career so far. So I mean, as an each way play, she's a really good chance at $7 and $2.45 to place. This is probably her hardest test. So I would suggest, even though she's a Group 2 winner, which she won at Flemington, beating Bahutakawa, I still think that, and she was beaten by Tafane as well, obviously a Group 1 winner last preparation as well. So her form's really good, and at $7, you can definitely have an each way play on her as well. Other chances of the race, I don't mind Mizzy. First up here, obviously she's got her fair share of ability, and she'll run well here first up. Shout the Bar obviously will be looking for a bit further, but I wouldn't surprise Vic's leading for a long way at the $21. So look, plenty of really good chance this race here, but that's why I've gone with a bit of value here, and I think that the race is going to set up nice for these two. In particular, Flit, who's going to be back in the field looking to run on. I think that's going to be a good tempo to allow her to track into the race. So she goes on top for me. Out of number 11, Adelong in for second. In for third, I've got number 8, Sweet for Seeker. And in for fourth, number 5, Hawkbury on her. Moving on to the final race of the program, it is a benchmark 78 race over 1,500 metres, and look at the speed map here. I'd suggest that Discharge will probably roll towards the top with Entente not far away. Bobby D will probably go towards the pace, as will Ocean Go and Cisco Bay. King's Air, a bit of a sticky gate for it on the inside, but I've got it on top because I think it's got the most amount of upside here. I really liked his last up performance on the Kenzo track, and he just seems to be progressing, and he's going to get better obviously with each run that he does. And I just think that if you get a little bit of luck off that inside barrier, which is going to be the big sort of question mark about him, but he is $4.80 and $1.95 to play, so he's a decent enough price to have a bit of a guess about it. I do think he is the best horse in the race, particularly going into the future. So, look, I'm probably going to stay out of it. I wrote it in my article that I'm probably going to steer clear of this race here because I can't really take too many of these with much confidence, but he goes on top for me ahead of number 1 and Tontu. I could see bouncing back here after a 6th first up behind Prime Candidate and Wonder Bar. Really strong form race there. Benchmark 88 drops back now to a 78. I can see it improving, especially coming onto a slightly potentially a rain affected track, which will suit this horse a lot better, being in the soft range, obviously with a good soft record. So it goes in for second. In for third, number 14, Papal Warrior. Obviously last start finished 6th behind Academy and Orsian, but prior to that was in really good form. Maybe I barely missed a top 4 finish. So he's a very reliable horse. He just isn't a winner, and that's my only concern with him. But he is a good price, the $8 to bounce back and be in the top 3. So he goes in for third for me. And then over fourth, number 7, Betcha Flying. Although I might have got those the other way around, but anyway, Betcha Flying. I could see this horse running a good race, second up here and onto a drying track. Obviously, a little bit disappointing first up behind the Cat and Ice Bath, but that form has been pretty good. So coming into this race, I think this horse has got a nice opportunity to bounce back, especially on a drier track. So it goes in for fourth. Other chance of the race, Lure Me In's been well backed, and I can see why. James McDonald riding obviously has a decent enough first up record, suggests it could be competitive in a race like this. And Star of Karen for me has a bit of interest coming across from New Zealand. Was the New Zealand Oaks place getter over there, so obviously has a fair share of ability, and the trial has been pretty good as well. Leading in, it was a 5th on that occasion behind Hawkbury on her, and crack on. And if it can perform, I think it could be a bit of a sneaky chance first up here in what isn't the extremely deep race to the $23, although we'll be looking for a bit further ground later on the preparation. But recap the numbers for me. Look, I'm counting number 16, King's Air on top for me, ahead of number 1 and Entente in for second. In for third, number 14, Papal Warren. In for fourth, number 7, Betcha Flying. Now, moving on to the best bets of the program. Look, I'm going to make Farnham one of my best bets of the program. Obviously, like I mentioned, he's not a great betting sort of choice at $2.40, and I don't like going anything that short. But it's a pretty tough and competitive card here, but I do think that he'll be winning that run to the Rose race, and He'll be going up to the Golden Roses as the clear favourite, and I think he'll be getting an Everest slot probably after this weekend if he runs really well. So he's going to be one of my best bets. There's the key word. So I'll make my actual best bet, which I am really keen on backing, and I mentioned that throughout the video. It comes in race number 7. So yeah, in the Theo Marks, and it is number 2 Nick and Over. So he's obviously a great price at the $12, but I think he's a very good bet, and I think he'll be running a really nice race. So he goes as one of my best bets of the program. Could have made him a best value bet, but I was looking at Overlord and Yardstick, and I'm very keen on those two. But I didn't really want to make one of them my best bets because I'm going to be backing them both. So in saying that, my best value bet is going to be Flit and Adelong in race number 8. So I'm keen on both of those in race number 8, but particularly number 1 Flit at the 20-1. It's one of my best value bets of the program. And the other one I'm pretty keen at a bit of odds comes in race number 4, and it is number 6 Way Up in the Sky at the $19. Obviously, she comes up in against grey opposition, but just think she's well over the odds at the price. So coming into the Quaddie Selections of the program. So in the early quaddie at Rosehill, look, I'm keen to go with in leg number 1, race number 2, 1, 2, 3, 8, 10, and 12. So it's 1, 2, 3, 8, 10, and 12 in leg number 1, race number 2. Leg 1, race number 2. Leg 2, race number 3. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. So 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11 in leg 2, race number 3. Leg number 3, race number 4, 1, 5, 6, 7. So leg number 3, race number 4, 1, 5, 6, 7. And in race number 5, leg number 4, 1, 4, 7, 9, and 11. So 1, 4, 7, 9, 11 in the final leg of the quaddie, race number 5. So the early quaddie, look, $100 get you around that 11% mark. A little bit of a mystery. I do think there could be a bit of value. Obviously, I think Yolong Base run pretty well in the highway race, but I do think that there could be one of those horses a bit of odds that could knock it off. So I think that we could get a bit of value injected from there. As for the late quaddie selections, so in the late quaddie on the program, leg number 1, race number 6, the Run to the Rose, I've gone 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. So 1, 3, 4, 5, and 7 in leg 1, race number 6 in the Run to the Rose. Leg number 2, race number 7, the Theo Marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 11. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 11 in race number 7, leg number 2 of the quaddie. Leg number 3, race number 8 of the quaddie, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 11. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 11 in leg number 3, race number 8. And then in leg number 4, race number 9, 1, 5, 7, 8, 14, and 16. So it's 1, 5, 7, 8, 14, and 16. So around $150, get about 11% thereabouts. So just a little bit over that. So good luck if you're playing tomorrow in the quaddie, or if you're having a bet at all. Hopefully we can find plenty of winners and enjoy the great racing. If you haven't already done so, please go and check out my Flemington preview. Obviously, go and check that one out for the Makybe Diva Stakes race day. Really appreciate you tuning into this video. So all the best. Have a great weekend. And like I said, if you haven't already done so, go check me out on social media. Go give SEN a follow on the socials, both Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You'll see some of my content on there, along with some of the other great guys in the office there. So it's a really nice platform, and I'm really appreciating that they've given me the opportunity there. So I'll still be getting these videos out to you guys, to anyone that has came for a bit more of an expansive look. Obviously, I'll be dropping my article on this meeting in the description down below, and also the quaddie selections if you missed those just before. So thank you for tuning in, and all the best tomorrow, and thank you, and I'll see you next week.